There were around 200 people living in the camp.
Dai, forza! 1, 2, 3, dai, fuori, dai, forza, veloci! Forza, dai, sotto!
The police were looking for 25 suspects, all involved in the exploitation of the children, operating at the central station.
Come ti chiami?
This man and his wife were wanted for kidnapping a 10-year-old boy from Romania and forcing him to steal. They threatened to break the boy's arms if he didn't bring in the money. As the police search for suspects continued, they made a shocking discovery. In a small shack, locked with a chain, they found over 15 children. These children were kept in captivity in terrible conditions. The police knew the children well from the numerous times they stopped them in Central Station Square. The exploited children were taken into care. But they all escaped, apart from one who testified against his exploiters. 19 members of the organization were arrested in the camp and 6 in Romania with the help of the local police. The trial was held in Milan. They were all found guilty for enslaving the children and given sentences between 4 and 14 years.
Io sono un genitore, ho 2 figli piccoli.
I am a parent. I have 2 small children. I'm a father. And frankly, to see this situation deeply shocked me.
Mi ha colpito profondamente.
I'm heading for the Gypsy camp where the police operation took place. The ruined farm is located in the middle of some fields. To my surprise, the place is still inhabited.
I've seen quite a few expensive cars going in and out. I think there's a BMW X5 coming out just now. This place is impossible to surveil without being noticed. We need to move.
Could child exploitation still be going on here? The camp is too dangerous to go in, but I have an idea. Nearby, there's a tube station that links this place with the city. If children are still being sent into Milan to steal, it's very likely they'll be taking the train from here. Over the next few days, I stake out the station and watch as every morning, different groups of children head into town. They're young boys, often accompanied by adults. One day, I recognize one of the boys the police found locked in the shack when they raided the camp. His name is Bobby. We follow him into town. He becomes aware of us, and we lose him. But on another day, we see him following an old man. A young adult with a black top walks right behind him. Bobby picks the old man's pocket. It's the same technique I've seen in the police surveillance videos. I wonder if the adult is his controller. We follow them and see the adult getting rough with Bobby. He must be his controller. We continue to monitor the station near the camp. I recognize Dixon and Dan, 2 more boys from the police raid. We see them at work in a busy tube station, attempting to steal from a woman's bag as they follow her up some stairs. On another day, they spot a woman with 2 young children. They run after her and ruthlessly lift her purse from her bag. They empty the contents of the wallet, drop it on the floor, and walk off. They head back to the camp. Our investigation has shown that the children who were being exploited 2 years ago from the ruined farm are once again thieving on the streets of the city. It's clear that the elaborate police operation has not saved them from a life of crime. I'm meeting up with the deputy mayor of Milan, Riccardo Decorato, who has led the city's controversial crackdown on gypsy crime.
A strong response would be to kick out Romania from the European Union and consider Romania outcast. Do you believe it could be done? It's impossible. Today the EU is expanding.
Decorato expresses opinions that would be unthinkable for politicians in most European countries.
The Roma don't really know the meaning of work because we always find them in the camps. They send the women to work and prostitute themselves, and the children are sent to steal.
Mandano a lavorare le donne, a prostituirsi. I bambini li mandano a rubare. Però
also, if you went now to any of the camps, you would just find men playing cards. So someone tell me how I can possibly explain to these people the concept of work, when their concept of life is without work, and the work is left to women and children instead.
Come concezione di vita non hanno il lavoro, ma il lavoro lo fanno fare a donne e bambini.
So it follows that it's not us being racist, but it's them who don't know how to be in our society.
Saper stare in una società civile.
Deputy Mayor Decorato has pledged to close down the 51 illegal gypsy camps around Milan. And this morning, the Bacula camp will be bulldozed. This is the 7th time it's been closed down in the last 2 years. The gypsies who live here know the drill, and they're already clearing out.
Mamma mia, dove andiamo questa, mamma? Mamma, come fa schifezza.
Sento che non ci sia roba che brucia.
Scusa, se lo volevo sporcare qua, noi dove abitiamo?
Andate in fondo, ci sono i servizi sociali che vi danno assistenza.
The social services offer of shelter has conditions attached, which the people here find unacceptable.
Dar ce ți-au spus? Ce ți-au spus?
Se ocupă bine într-o parte?
Ia cu fetele într-o parte și eu cu băiatul într-o parte. Nu este corect treaba asta. Nu suntem câini, nu suntem animale, suntem oameni și noi.
Perché sei cattivo così?
Only one family take the social services assistance. The rest scatter. The camp is now closed. But for a handful of gypsy families who live there, life may be about to change for the better.
Un po' di pazienza, adesso ci sistemiamo i primi giorni, eh?
A local charity, Casa della Carità, is offering them shelter.
È bene? E meno male. Stasera sei servita, ti lavi, ti serviamo la cena, tutto a posto.
We just brought here the 5 families that we're going to welcome here in the house. They seem happy.
These families are being given help because in spite of the hardship of the camp, they send their children to school. Don Massimo is the vice president of this charity. He explains to the new arrivals the house rules.
Quella sarà la vostra stanza, quindi potrete tenere lì la vostra roba e tenere anche pulito, fare la curazzenia bene di quel posto lì. Una prima cosa molto importante è tutti i copii che emergono alla scuola devono continuare ad andare alla scuola. E ogni giorno, tutti i giorni, i bambini devono andare a scuola.
Don Massimo has little tolerance for those who break the rules, which also include no begging and no stealing. That night, it rains. The new arrivals at Casa della Carità have a roof over their head. But for all the other gypsies that were left homeless, it's going to be a bad night. A few days later, I return to the site of the camp to see if any gypsies have moved back in, as has happened several times before. All that's left are the rats. Around the corner, the local residents are having coffee and cakes. There's a heavy police presence. The gathering's been organized by Lega Nord, a popular right-wing political party.
So why are you here today?
To celebrate the closure of the Romani camp. And because I was pickpocketed twice. Now that they've been kicked out, I'm happy.
Sure, it's safer now, but for how long? Because these people just move from 1 kilometer to the next. They are always here.
The Roma, the nomads, whatever you call them. It's disgusting the way they exploit children and old people.
They are people who should be killed, but we can't kill them.
The gypsy issue has fueled the swing to the right in Italy. Casa della Carità believes the situation is more complex.
The right wing says that Romani gypsies are just people that exploit their children and women for stealing, for begging, and maybe there is a bit of a truth in this. But the real problem is that some of the gypsies actually beg and steal because that's the only chance that they have for surviving.
Buongiorno. La barba non l'abbiamo fatta stamattina, Robert.
Donatella has been working with Romanian gypsies for over 4 years. The charity has developed a program which tries to integrate gypsies into Italian society. It starts with paying close attention to the needs of each individual.
Generally, what they want to achieve is a job, a regular job, and a house. But not all of them can speak good Italian, can relate in a very good way, or have professional skills that they can use on the market.
As well as training, Casa della Carità has a lot more to offer. There's free food and clothing, tutoring for the children, the chance to live rent-free in a little purpose-built house. They can even provide subsidized flats in the city. And they've had some successes.
She's Loredana, and she's one of our youth. She's 19 years old, she'll soon be 20. And she has just started to work. She's just started to attend the course for the driving license, and she just opened her personal saving account because she wants her to spare the money for herself, and she really doesn't want to marry. So
Sì,
this
questo è vero.
So
De ce nu vrei să te căsătorești?
Cum?
De ce nu vrei să te căsătorești?
Nu, eu am alte gânduri.
Ce gânduri ai?
Vreau să fac ceva în viață, frumos, nu știu. Am altceva de făcut. Ce să fac cu măritatul de acum? Sunt prea mică pentru măritat.
This is probably the effect of the cultural influence that we had on her. So she attended school here, she learned a job here, she started to relate to our models, and so she actually embraced our models as her own.
As vice president of Casa della Carità, Don Massimo is fighting a constant battle. He's under regular attack from the right wing. But there's also the question of whether their model of integration is actually destroying the gypsy culture.
Io non voglio cambiare I loro valori, voglio semmai fare in modo...
I don't want to change their values. I want these values to live together next to other people's lifestyles. Of course, to do this, maybe someone has to renounce something, to give in a bit. But this path is absolutely possible.
Possible it may be, but the process of integration takes time and is beset with difficulties, as many gypsies are not prepared to change and follow the charity's rules. One of the main things they have to renounce is using their children for stealing and begging. This is by no means a simple exercise.